It's like The Last of Us.
Right.
The Cure, but we're not going to let you get The Cure.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Also,
my favorite part of Last of Us is when there's just a couple left and they're like, guys, this is The Last of Us. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
We're The Last of Us. Well, you know, it's also like
if you want Pascal looks at the girl and says, it's Last of Us time.
All right.
That's right, Chuck.
Hello there.
Ooga-Chaka
Farm.
99.
we're gonna speed run. We're gonna
99.
speed run it.
99 Nerds, episode 38. This is Austin. Sean's here. David's here. And we are here today to talk to you guys about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Fresh out of the theater. I literally came straight from the theater here. Sean walked out of the theater 3 days ago.
Yes.
David walked out of the theater yesterday. This is like the first movie in a long time we all saw separately, but that's fine.
And in one weekend.
Yeah, we nailed. I mean, I heard nothing but things about this movie, so I feel like I had to get to the theater ASAP Rocky. Plus, there was zero chance I was going to record this episode if you guys saw the movie and I hadn't.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't have been here. But we're going to hit Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
What else are we going to talk about?
We're also going to talk about some drama that unfolded on May the 4th. The three of us were there and things got turned.
Turniped.
The neckbeards came from the woodlands.
Whoa. Not too bad. Spoiler alert. Let's just say I urinated 4 times.
Dang.
Because I was nervous.
Okay.
Of what was going on. But before
we got
all
some
that,
business to take care of.
Business to take care of. Guys, we did it. We broke the threshold. The haters said we couldn't. And now they're dead. We killed them.
They're gone.
We officially have passed 99 subscribers.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Hey, that's pretty good. Do it. Make your dreams.
Wait a minute.
Another one. Another one.
Nothing is impossible.
Whoa, hey.
The magic number. Not to YouTube or the rest of the world, but to us in
99.
our hearts.
So this will be
99
our last
subscribers.
episode that we've recorded.
Oh, no. So we have a face reveal to do.
Yeah, we promised. I've been promising for multiple episodes now we will do a face reveal on our 99th subscriber special. And so in front of my friends here are folders with their face reveals. So let's start with Austin.
All right.
He's going to reveal his face
Sean
finally
printed these. I don't know what's gonna
to the world.
happen. Jonathan Stamos.
That's right. All right, Dave is Mr. Worldwide.
What? I guess.
And then, of course, there's my stuff's down here. That's Sean.
Okay. Bet.
That's my face.
Sure. All right. I'm
And,
next.
Wow.
Wow. From behind, it kind of looks like Uncle Rico from the
Yeah.
Dynamite.
You ever consider just growing a mustache like that? You used
Nope.
to have long hair.
I did for a hot second. It's so high maintenance. You got to do so much work. Didn't have time.
Aw.
Oh, shoot.
True.
I can either bring you in warm or bring you in cold.
Yikes. What does that mean?
That's what he says.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. I'm, of course, the one.
At least one.
At least the one.
People have found you guilty of 123 counts of first-degree murder and 123 counts of unauthorized travel to parallel universes.
There's never been anything like what I have become.
For these crimes, you have been sentenced to life without the possibility of return.
Are you ready? Are you?
Freeze! He's escaping!
There's only one place he could be going. Not a problem. Miss me?
That's such a systematic character. All right. Oh, yeah.
It's all coming together. Patrick Warburton, of course,
The
one of the most
greatest voice actor.
infamous actors of our generation. And then
legend.
Dave,
Oh,
one of,
Thomas.
if not the most infamous actors of our generation,
you kind of run like him.
Thomas Cruise.
Really?
No, maybe.
Dave, you're the kind of guy I think would still be ripped and action-packed at 60 years old.
I don't know about that.
And
I
just
hope I'm dead at 60.
Oh my
what?
God.
Jeez.
Well, not with that attitude.
Not in this economy.
Not in this economy.
What's your last one, Sean? Before the last one.
I got
What?
Guy Fieri.
I'm going to flavor town.
There's times I feel like I really embody the spirit of this guy.
You just dine, drive, and dine in.
Yeah, I'm just like
Diner
looking
stuff.
for food in all the wrong places.
Wow. Alderaan.
But Alderaan.
Now to lead into our next segment, last face reveal. Oh, heck yeah.
Christopher.
Dude, Chris Pratt.
And Dave is Dave,
Star-Lord.
naturally.
Batista.
And then I, of course, am James Gunn because
Dude, that's spot
me and
on.
him look more and more like each other the older I get. But he's a good looking guy, isn't he?
Dude,
I
He
like
used to be
him.
married to, what's her name from The Office?
No.
Yeah. What's her name? Pam.
what?
Jenna Fisher?
I never knew
You're
that.
lying.
No, he used to be married to her.
You're lying.
Dude,
I'm not
what a
lying. Why
goat.
would I lie about that? Why would I
can't
make
be
that
true.
up? Why would I just say that in a podcast and then make you guys all wonder about it?
So, Sean, why did you put these last?
Because I want us to channel our inner Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, and James Gunn to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord.
May I start?
Dude, start.
Okay.
James Gunn. James Gunn did marry her.
There you go.
Holy cow.
What happened, though?
Something bad.
Dang.
Jim Halpert.
Oh.
Oh no. John Krasinski. Dang it. So I loved the movie. I'll say that.
Whoa.
I loved it. I got a lot out of it. It was emotionally satisfying and fulfilling to me. I thought it was a wonderful finale to that trilogy of characters. And more important than just funny, action-packed, was how emotionally satisfying it was. There was a catharsis to a lot of the characters' arcs.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed by the writing, the script, and it's just a really well-directed and edited film.
Yeah.
So what did you think, Austin? Because I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Well, you said it prompted you to watch the other two Guardians right away.
Yeah, I watched the other ones right afterwards. I noticed that I came home, watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well, and found there's just tons of cool Easter eggs and there's lots of little details that were being set up all the way back then as well.
Really?
Now, what Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out, what was it, 2014?
Yeah, 2014.
And then you said the second one came out 2017.
2017.
So
yeah.
6 years later,
Yeah, I didn't
we had
realize
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
that it was
Volume
that
3.
big of a gap. But there was all that drama where he got canceled and fired by Disney. And
But then they
had to-
rehired him.
Right. Plus, the Guardians had all the Avenger movies in between,
Yeah, they were up to something.
and we didn't get just a Guardians movie. So I saw the movie literally. I walked out of the theater an hour ago, hour and 15 minutes ago,
You
actually.
can still smell the popcorn on you.
I didn't get any. I desperately should have, though. I'm hungry.
It wasn't your popcorn.
But that's real. I'll try to sum this up in as few words as I can. I absolutely loved the movie. I loved the tone of the movie. I loved the themes involved. I loved how they incorporated some of the Guardian characters that beforehand I didn't care for that much. I loved their arcs. I loved Mantis in this movie, and I feel like she's been really weak in the other one. And just like overall in the Avengers movies. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was extremely emotional and moving. It threw a huge curveball in terms of what I expected versus what actually happened. I absolutely loved Chris Pratt in this movie. I'm a big Chris Pratt fan, and I thought he knocked it out of the park with Star-Lord in this one. So I gave it a 9.1.
Dang.
Dang.
Year.
We're averaging 9.05 right now.
Let's go.
Dang. 91 is the year you and I were born.
Those are rookie numbers.
Now, Dave, you were born in what year?
97.
Oh, so what do you think that means?
Oh my gosh.
Dave, let's hear what you have to say. What did you think of Guardians Volume 3?
All right, so to be quite frank with you guys, I have only seen the first Guardians and a little bit of Guardians 2.
Oh god.
So I don't know these characters very well. But that being said, I also don't care for these characters that much.
Sure.
They don't tickle my fancy. What am I trying to say? They don't do it for me. It's not, I get bored with them. I like Chris Pratt, yes. I like Drax, yes. Rocket, I always thought was kind of weird. Didn't really understand him. It's a raccoon. Well, like what?
Right.
That's weird. And just the whole tone, everything with these movies are always different than normal Marvel movies, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. But going into the movie, there was a lot of hype behind this.
Yeah.
I was seeing, not because I didn't see it opening night, which I usually do, but I was seeing everybody post about it. I saw Sean post that this is amazing, super emotional, that he cried.
I'll do it right now.
But that being said, I keep seeing this stuff about this is the best movie since Endgame, and
in the #1 movie in the galaxy.
it's like, okay, they say
I
that about
literally
every
don't
movie.
believe that no matter what they say about whatever movie, it's worthless when they put that stuff in trailers and TV spots.
The last post I saw going into the movie was, thanks, Marvel, now I need a therapist. And I thought,
my gosh.
Dang.
Couple that with the fact that I've seen Dave Bautista come out and say he's done playing Drax. This is his finale. I've seen that Zoe Saldana girl.
Zeldana.
Gamora.
Zeldanya.
I've seen her come out and say this is her last film. So I'm thinking, shoot, all this emotion. This is the end of James Gunn's trilogy. They're all gonna die.
Yeah.
They're gonna go out with a bang. So I was super excited to go see it. I went and saw it, and I thought, wow, the humor in this movie, awesome. Rocket storyline, emotional, great. I loved it. I was on board. And then the movie ended, and I realized it still didn't do it for me. I don't care about these characters. So, I mean, I'm just being honest. I thought it was a great movie. I just didn't care for it.
Dang.
I like Chris Pratt. I like Drax. I thought Mantis, funny, great. Gamora, honestly, I couldn't really stand her. And I know it's a different Gamora,
Right.
but I couldn't really stand her. I don't know anything about the guy with the wand, the Harry Potter wand.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see number 2.
It's James Gunn's brother.
Sean Gunn, and he will be at Comic-Con next week, which I might be going to with Emily.
Whoa. Pixar didn't happen.
I liked Castle in this movie. The actor.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. Great.
Nathan Fillion.
I thought that was hilarious. Again, the music was great.
Yeah.
The humor was great.
Yeah.
The action. There is a fight sequence at the end of the movie.
Oh, David.
it is
Say the
great.
words.
It is amazing.
Say the words.
It is everything that they do with DC, though. And you say you don't like that. It's the slow-mo and then build it back up, and the slow-mo and then build it back up.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Speed ramping.
I don't
Maybe it is
mind-
a little cliche at times.
I don't mind slow-mo. It's because they're normal people. It's the speedster slow-mo scene.
Sure.
It's the Flash, Quicksilver, Superman,
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Like, the missile slowly approaching his face, and he taps it out.
And
of
it's
the
not
way.
that I don't like it. I do like it. The problem is it's been strung out too much. It's been overplayed. So anyway, keep going.
The hit and the miss for me, or the hit was Drax and the humor and the music and the action and Rocket. Rocket was probably the best part of this whole film.
Right. And he's knocked unconscious for most of it.
Right. The miss for me was Adam Warlock.
Okay.
I thought the actor did a great job playing that character, but the character story itself did not make any sense to me. It seemed very forced, very weird. Didn't really explain who he is, what's going on. It was just kind of like he was on the scene.
You didn't see Volume 2, so you can't say that.
Is he in Volume 2?
Yeah. I mean, he's teased at the end.
Well, let me say this, Dave. What would your score be?
Again,
your gut instinct.
Great movie.
Your butt instinct.
Great movie.
2 out of 10.
No, this was a great movie. This was not a Black Adam film.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This was better than
You
Ant-Man.
gave 7 point something to Black Adam.
I'm gonna give this an 8.
Black Adam.
You must have loved it.
I'm gonna give this an 8.0.
Oh,
Okay,
It would have been higher.
For somebody who hates the movie, it's a pretty good
It's not that I
score.
hated the movie.
You hate the characters and
it
everybody
sounds
involved.
like you thought the movie was really good, it just didn't encapsulate everything it seems like everybody else is getting out of it.
Yes, I thought it was going to be
And
more
that's fair.
emotional than what it was.
Okay.
I think the hype, it didn't live up to what everybody was
Ooh,
making
yeah,
it seem to be.
Sure.
I would say this, 2 things. If you would have seen volume 2, you probably would have given it an 8.4, I'd say. You would have had more context, you would have understood. I think this was like one of the greatest misdirections I've experienced in film marketing. Like, my wife asked me about this movie, and I basically said, this is James Gunn's finishing act.
Swan song.
like, basically, everybody dies.
Oh my god.
That's what everybody was.
S is for spoilers. And spoilers are for cool cars.
They even play into that, not only with the marketing of everybody's gonna die.
Yeah.
You've got
Time to Face the Music.
you've got
or whatever
Nebula
it says.
carrying Quill's lifeless body in the trailer.
Yep.
Later to find out in the very beginning that he was just drunk and passed out. But beyond that, they made you think characters were gonna die throughout the entire movie.
Sure.
Like, there was a moment where I said, "Oh my God, Drax just died. Oh my God, Nebula just died.
Exactly.
Oh my God, Peter Quill just died. Oh my God, what's his
Rocket literally died.
name? Yeah, it's so they played into that super heavy, but then they all didn't. But that's okay.
Well,
I like that better.
I think that I appreciated that so much.
Yeah,
Because I think in a lot of movies, maybe it would feel like a cop-out to promote, or at least to set up the idea of, like, you know, this is where the characters are going to give their lives for their mission. And then to not do that, it's like, oh, come on, that's not fair. That's a cop-out. Insert news headline about supposedly bringing back Andy Serkis for season 2 of Andor. But I felt like in this movie, it was really cool for the characters to to win.
Sure.
They won in the end.
Yeah.
It almost killed them, and it cost them a lot. And they're weeping and dragging each other through it the whole time, carrying each other on each other's shoulders. But they won, and then they made it out at the end.
because how many of them were dusted by Thanos?
All but Rocket and Nebula.
Dang.
Yeah.
So for them to get a W was good.
Yeah, and I'll say this. There's a lot of things we can talk about. I would like to just talk about the villain.
Do it.
High Evolutionist, right?
The evolutionary. High evolutionary.
High Evolutionary. You know, for a villain that is not Thanos, that's not Kang, and rewatching the first Guardians, he's not even the bad guy from the first Guardians movie. I can't remember his name right now. Ronan, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, that is a terrifying villain. He's so vindictive.
Yeah.
He's like such a horrible, evil guy. Like, it's rare a movie has a villain that is like completely off the deep end evil, and you hate his guts so much in the movie.
Right.
I mean, he's horrible and cruel and torturous.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is, you know, we talk about characters getting their spinach and their candy. You know, spinach is when something hard happens to a character, and it's important because you need to bring them down a notch for them to be sympathetic. But then candy is when a character feels powerful and strong. And this movie is like, that villain gets so many W's.
Yeah.
He's like, it just seems like you can't beat him. He just keeps thwarting their plans and getting away with the most despicable things you've ever seen in a movie. But then they get him in the end.
Right.
Got him.
Yeah. For sure.
I can't remember that. I can't remember that actor's name right off the top of my head. I don't think I've actually seen him in anything
He's
before.
got a super unique name. I just saw it.
Chikwundi or something like that.
I wouldn't even
Apparently
be able
he's
to
in
pronounce it.
the Peacemaker show, which is also produced by James Gunn, but I've never watched it.
I thought that Rocket's story all pieced together super well, super emotional. The build up, the heartbreak, all of it was done super well. I saw your review on Instagram. I saw that you gave it 5 stars, and I refused to read what you wrote because I didn't want to be spoiled by your thoughts. I wanted to hear it firsthand. One thing that hit super close to home for me personally was I was one of the 100 people in the United States that owned a Microsoft Zune.
Right on.
And first of all, better memory for less money than an iPod, way bigger screen.
Well, there you go.
And it was superior, except nobody bought it except me and Peter Quill or whoever got it for Peter Quill. So I love the
integration
of the Zune and how much a part of this movie it was. And like the soundtrack carries through from volume 1, 2, and 3. The tone carries through. Love the music. But then there's those moments of like they're playing music, everything's great, and then boom, Drax gets shot in the chest with an ultra weapon from Nathan Fillion, and it's like, oh my god, Drax is dead, because you're waiting the whole movie for the moment when somebody's gonna sacrifice themselves, somebody's gonna die, and it's like record scratch, Drax is dead.
Yeah, and then like slow-mo or the sad music kicks in, and you're like, oh shoot, the fun's over.
Yeah,
right.
I love that whole scene though. They're on that organism planet thing. That was fun. And the colorful suits is very, what's that one director?
It was very silly.
It was very silly. Extremely.
Well, what I think the Guardians movies do good. And actually, Dave, I actually appreciate that you didn't like some things about the movie, because as I said earlier, I find when I really, really like a movie, I only have a few good things to say about it, because it's like, oh, it was done well. I liked it. They did a great job. I don't think I have like a lot to discuss about it sometimes, but when a movie isn't good or it does things wrong, I feel like that's a really good place of discussion. Yeah. So that one of the things that I think Guardians of the Galaxy does pretty well is it is silly, but it still finds a way to take itself very seriously when it's supposed to.
For sure.
And that is really cool. It's not flawless about this. In fact, watching Guardians 1 and 2 again, I was like, there's moments in that movie where I'm like, guys, just take it a little bit more seriously. This is really good. You don't have to like undercut it with a joke suddenly.
Right.
Which is called bathos in film. When you undermine seriousness with humor.
I say that Taika Waititi took a big old bathos?
Yeah.
In Thor.
That's pretty much the problem with Thor Love and Thunder, is it just needs to hold on to its seriousness a little bit longer.
What's it been like? 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
So Guardians does that pretty well. Maybe not all the time, but most time. So Dave, what are some things that you liked about the movie, but more importantly, what are things that really didn't work for you think?
I feel like they set up, like what Austin was saying, they kept setting up in marketing and stuff that like, this is it, they're gonna die. And it's not that I wanted them to die, but it's like, why would you tease that and then throughout the movie just kind of tease it?
One of them.
Yeah.
And then nothing I feel shortchanged. I feel let down. Like nothing happened.
Kill them.
Like at the very end. So spoiler. This is a big spoiler.
Major.
Chris Pratt drops a Zune and goes back for it in the midst of like,
legend.
I don't know.
In the midst of
legend.
of a ship exploding, and it's a desperate time to escape.
So he jumps into outer space and Leia Organa's for a little bit, and he starts dying because he's a human and he can't be in space without the right equipment.
Sure.
So he's got nothing, and you're just watching as he's like exploding from the inside.
Actually, all 3 Guardians movies do that, by the way, of having somebody in space and slowly die or almost die.
Well, I thought like, oh, this is it, but that doesn't make any sense. He didn't do anything. Like this death would mean nothing.
Right.
And then Adam Warlock out of nowhere.
The Adam. Did you like that?
That was almost, I couldn't help but notice that.
I like that.
So there were so let's talk about Adam Warlock actually.
Yeah.
So the little thing that's kind of complicated about that character is he is, like Austin said, at the very last end credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The Guardians have been, at the beginning of the movie, they were dealing with this race of superior genetically created and crafted beings called the Sovereign. And they're all gold colored skin and golden hair, and they're all supposedly perfect. We find out that they were actually made by the High Evolutionary.
Right.
But what happens is the Guardians do a job for them, and then it's revealed that Rocket stole something from them in that second movie, which is kind of the inciting incident. It's what causes the Guardians to crash and has all the characters fighting with each other and kind of makes the team split up for the movie. But the thing is, at the very, very end of the movie, the Sovereign Priestess leader, she explains, okay, we're going to craft a new citizen or like a new one of our population, except this one's going to be special and we're going to make somebody really powerful. And she says something along the lines of like, oh, I think we'll call him Adam. right? And all they show is the exterior of his genetic pod. Yeah. So that's all you have heard about him. And of course, immediately you could go on the internet and it's like, oh, it's going to be Adam Warlock, who's a character in the comics, right? Okay, I don't know anything about Adam Warlock. He's powerful. That's all I know.
Right.
And this is a setup for that. I don't even know if this is a comic accurate setup for him, but it's all it is. It's a setup. But that was 6 years ago, right? That was end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So nothing since then. So it is actually very out of left field for him to like just appear in the beginning of the first 10 minutes of the movie. He's just rocketing towards them from space.
Right.
He's just Superman flying through space at him. And then he just like T-bone tackles Rocket. And there is something confusing about his character, which is he's kind of like a baby.
Yeah.
He's dumb.
He's
naive.
The parallel there, I feel like, is Shazam. He's like the Shazam of
Even
Marvel.
more so, except he hasn't experienced any life. Like he gets stabbed in that opening scene by Nebula, and he doesn't even know what pain is. He's like, ouch, this hurts. He doesn't even know.
Did you notice that his first words and Rocket's first words are the same thing?
Oh,
hurts.
Dang.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that part, I think that was the most emotional part. Nope. That was number 2 for me.
Dude, when Tiefs,
Floor,
Lila,
Rocket. And Rocket. That was great. I thought he did a good job.
Good.
But they were also creepy as
dude. I was. It was like the scene from Toy Story when Buzz gets thrown.
That's what I thought. I thought the same thing.
Exactly what Emily said.
The rabbit was. I thought the rabbit was gonna like eat him
or something. Well, so the thing about Adam Warlock is, it's like, okay, he was made in this pod. He's only just been born, really, and all he knows is he's got to like get Rocket for the High Evolutionary and for his mom, the Sovereign Leader. That's all he knows. He's just got to go do this. And he's super powerful and he's unhinged. He doesn't really have boundaries. He doesn't really know what he's doing. So I kind of felt like I understood the theme with him of, okay, him and Rocket are similar in that they're just made for this purpose from somebody else.
Right.
And the end of the movie is them feeling like they have the ability to choose their own life, their own path. It was a little bit, I mean, when you compare it to Rocket's, it's night and day because Rocket is the whole movie, his story.
Right.
With Adam Warlock, it's like, okay, maybe a little bit more nuance to it would have been nice, because it is kind of confusing him fighting these characters at the very beginning of the movie. And then he just keeps disappearing and coming back, but I feel like the movie didn't give him a scene to like explain who he is and why he is the way he is. Because like you said, Dave, otherwise it's super confusing. Who is this guy and why is he acting like an idiot the whole time? Like, why is he so oblivious to what's going on?
Right. I mean, one thing that's important is the Guardians basically ruin the Sovereign. Like they ruin their society.
They blow up all their ships. Their fleet is destroyed.
They make them look stupid. Gotcha. And so then the one chick, I forget her name.
She's the priestess. That's all I remember.
Yeah, she like hates the Guardians. So for Adam to be born, like all he's ever been indoctrinated is these are the enemy. We hate them. We must destroy them.
They did have that line in the movie. The mom said like, "You took him out of the womb too early. He's still just a kid."
Sure. Yeah.
That
we've all been there.
Explain things to me. But speaking of like explaining things, I think that was another cool tidbit in the movie where Star-Lord is reviewing what happened, telling Gamora, well, this is what happened with the last Gamora. And it's that what I told you I liked in Thor: Love and Thunder is like they used Korg to narrate what had happened up to this point. And that's what we were saying is they need to do that now with Marvel, because there's so many. We're on like movie 30 something. So I like that they keep doing that little review of like, if this is your first time watching Marvel or you're only on Guardians 3 and this is your third movie watching, like you can understand what's
previously happened. On The Mandalorian.
Right. Sean, how would you rank the 3 Guardians?
Each one?
Like
I personally think they each get better.
Okay.
But what's funny is I've heard people say they don't like Guardians 2 as much.
I didn't care for 2
I understand
as
that.
much. Yeah.
For me, I think it's because the theme of that movie is very personal to me. And I think that's probably why I like it so much.
Okay.
In hindsight, it's like James Gunn is like, I don't know. I just, the osmosis cultural picture I get of the guy is he's like, oh, he's an edgy director. He made like whatever it is, the Evil Dead remake. And, he got in trouble for some edgy tweets he made a while ago.
Yeah.
So, and then he made The Suicide Squad, which is like a violent, crazy, black comedy. But it is interesting watching some of his work and realizing he can write very emotional and very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of why I've appreciated the Guardians movies, each one more than the rest, because I do feel like I'm getting the sense of the more time you're spending with these characters, the more important their personal journeys are to you.
Sure.
And these are complicated movies because it's a wide cast. It's not like a Superman movie where you can just focus on Superman, maybe Lois Lane, maybe the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a cast of like at least no less than 6 of these guys, and then they add more each movie.
Right.
So for this, it's like you spent several hours with these guys, as well as all the other Marvel movies that they appear in.
Right.
So their arc better be serious. And that's actually kind of cool what you said earlier about Mantis. Because the second movie treats her very much like a joke.
Right.
Touch me, and the only thing you're gonna feel is a broken jaw.
I never thought she'd be able to do it, with as weak and skinny as she appears to be.
It's kind of like mean to Mantis. That's the only thing about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 I don't like, which is they give her so much spinach and not enough candy. They really are mean to poor Mantis.
Sure. Yeah.
They make fun of her all the time. Drax keeps calling her ugly, which is like a recurring bit, but it stops being funny after a while.
Right.
Because it just seems mean. In fact, the one moment in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that I was like, guys, why did you have to do that? Was there's this big dramatic hero shot of all the characters standing there as like, it's super cool. It's one of the coolest shots in all of the MCU of the characters standing there in like these hero poses. The camera swings around all of them. And it's like this very triumphant shot of like, this is our heroes right here. The Guardians of the Galaxy, the world's blown up around them and music swells and everything. And then right as it reaches the climax of this really cool moment, a piece of debris comes out of nowhere and strikes Mantis in the head, knocks her out. And then a joke from Drax, like, Mantis, look out.
Yeah.
Like a beat too late. So I'm like, you guys, you could have held it a little bit longer.
What?
You don't have to undercut your serious moments that quickly.
Right.
I really liked this.
Yeah. In this movie, Mantis falls on her head.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Not her head, not just her head, but her neck, like breaking. And
so I don't know what species she is, but
and even like in space, they're all like floating, but she's like upside down and stuff.
And they're like bouncing off the surfaces, but she's like cracking her head on
I
the
just
surfaces.
remembered the scene where Peter is talking to Gamora and the color-coded buttons. I was dying laughing at that scene. She's like, Peter, just so you know, we can all hear you. What? Yeah, this is an open channel. It's like, and then they go through the color schemes. That was very funny. I like that joke. I liked the Peter Gamora aspect of this movie.
So I thought that was leading into he was gonna win that Gamora over.
Well, he kind of did.
But then at the end, it wasn't.
Sure. But we saw at the end credit scene that Star-Lord will return.
Oh my
The
god.
legendary Star-Lord will return. I don't know.
You don't know if he will?
No, he will, but
who cares?
I felt like the crescendo of like, this is it. This is the finale. This is the end of the trilogy. Just felt like it was kind of lame. Like, okay, let's just sit Star-Lord down with his grandpa until we're ready for him with Kang. It was just kind of like, I wanted more to happen.
That's a good point. Sure. Just he's on the bench until then.
Oh, and real quick about Kang. Disney. So Jonathan Majors is in some trouble.
Yeah.
Apparently he choked a girl out. Yikes. Which you can't do.
Not something you want to do.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Apparently his lawyer says they have proof he's innocent. I don't know how you prove that he didn't choke her.
Yikes.
But I guess a bunch of other girls
Just
have
find
come
out
forward.
he doesn't actually have hands.
True.
Easy. Cut him off. See?
Or this is his origin story for the Daredevil show coming out.
Oh my
where he
gosh.
fights the hand.
Dang.
It's Kang.
Or Super Smash Bros. Where you fight the hand.
Yeah, it wasn't his hand. It was a possessed hand.
Dang.
Anyway,
The old
a bunch of other
possessing
girls have come forward and said, yeah, he abused them too. So he's in some hot water right now, and they're waiting on the trial still. So Disney has said that they have someone ready to go to recast.
Oh my
Kang.
gosh, secrets?
But
Friends don't keep secrets, Disney.
they're waiting to see how this trial plays out. So We'll see.
I bet whoever they've cast or supposedly entered negotiations with really appreciates being like in the floating zone about that for what might be the biggest movie deal of their life.
Right.
Took a screenshot of a tweet that I saw after the theater.
What if it's just Chris Pratt again?
It said, PETA calls Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 the best animal rights film of the year. They said the film has helped audiences see animals as individuals and suggested that just because we can experiment on them doesn't mean we should.
You know what's funny is I was reading the Wikipedia page and some of the reviews. There's another animal rights group that said the exact opposite.
Well, my favorite part is the very first top comment on it is F you, PETA.
Well, there you go.
PETA Quill or PETA the organization?
PETA the organization. Cool. I mean, I loved it. Sean loved it. David's
a butt.
Jeez.
So, Dave.
No, it was a good movie.
It was.
It just, I thought it was going to be more grand.
You know what this makes me want to do? It makes me want to create a spreadsheet, and we should do. You know how we did our top 50 Star Wars characters review? We should create our own top 50 MCU characters.
Let's do it.
Because be honestly, Star-Lord in this movie just shot up my list.
We could do a 6-hour podcast of us just like debating who goes above who for hours and hours and hours. That'd be fun.
We could do we could create it together. I'll create the spreadsheet and then we can move the cells on the spreadsheet around as we like.
I already got my top 5.
Well, your top 5 might be different from me.
Who's got the most weighted opinion though? Is it me?
It'll be my son, Oliver.
Oh my gosh.
I'll let him review it. Anyway.
So let's talk about Mantis a little bit more. So Mantis, I thought it was actually interesting how they're kind of mean to her in the movie, but what they did that I liked was they kind of refined her and made her essentially like the moral compass. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really cool how at one point in the movie, she was kind of defending Drax because Nebula was just like screaming at Drax about something. And Mantis defends him saying, he is the only one of you that doesn't hate himself. And I kind of like that you kind of get this impression from Mantis that she maybe is she's easy to make fun of. She comes across as naive at times, but she is the only one who has the emotional intelligence to understand everybody.
Yeah.
And that kind of informs when she talks about stuff. It's nice because it informs the audience about things that they don't probably think about.
Sure.
Like Drax doesn't hate himself.
Right.
It's easy for us to think, oh, Nebula hates herself or Rocket hates himself. These are really obvious. But even Star-Lord kind of has all this resentment about his own life, and Gamora, obviously. So it's like, I like that Mantis is revealed as a important character for this team because she brings this needed sense of like caring about people.
Yeah.
When otherwise they would all just treat each other like crap all the time.
Yeah.
I liked the part with Mantis when they go on that like organism
ship. Yeah.
Yeah. And she just starts mind controlling all the different people.
I was crying laughing.
It was so funny. And then there was a lot of moments in this movie where it was like,
you are hopelessly in love with him.
Yeah. There were so many parts where it was like,
you do this every time. This
is really funny. And the tone and everything is very lighthearted. And then something very heavy hearted happens right away. Like she's like, I don't remember what she said to all of them, but she was like controlling all their minds.
What was the first one? Can't remember the first one.
On that ship?
Yeah.
I thought it was they had to get past the security gate and she made the guy fall in love with Drax.
Well, there was that. But then like once they were surrounded, the first guy, I can't remember what she did to them, but then the second one.
Oh yeah. There was like, oh, you feel like dancing.
That was the second one. You feel like dancing. And then the last one was like uncontrollable rage.
Yeah. The uncontrollable rage one got me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like, she's a weapon, she can be used.
It's like such an easy to abuse power.
For sure.
I think she said something about Drax that hurt his feelings. She's like, you think I'm stupid? And she's like, you are going to forget all this.
Well, no, she's like, you are stupid. And just like kept going at it and then goes, you will forget.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I like Mantis's character. But
the guy though that she said, you feel like dancing, he was just like going to town, like the goofiest dance you've ever seen with the biggest smile on his face. I love that.
Yeah, that was great. I think another highlight, like humor-wise, was the castle. Whatever his name is.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. When him and Chris Pratt had to talk about like, oh, I got one of them in my group, like
Yeah.
the stupid guy.
Yeah.
That was great.
That's funny.
One thing to like have a stupid person in your group. It's another thing to like talk about him out loud while he's right there. Good Lord.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm really disappointed in him.
That was really unique. That whole like organism world. They had those weird body suits. They looked like quantum. You know those quantum worm things that have been in Ant-Man a couple times? They kind of looked like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I'm thinking of like
I was
actual
thinking like
quantum
the
worms.
I was thinking like with the what is it, bell tire? What is it, like the tire guy? But they're fleshy and pink.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was really funny to me because it was so when I saw the movie, I saw it in theaters. I saw a version of the theater that was showing it with subtitles.
Oh,
which I might want to do that all the time.
Yeah, I wish I had that.
If I can get that in Dolby too, just always do that for me. But it was kind of interesting because you're watching one. It not only did the subtitles for dialogue, it also did it for song lyrics.
Oh, wow.
Which I really thought was cool because there's a moment, for example, the movie opens with the first song, licensed song is the acoustic version of Creep, right?
Okay.
By 9 Inch Nails. Or is it 9 Inch Nails? Or is it Radiohead?
I'm not 100%.
I'm sorry.
I meant to look it up because I wasn't sure what song it was.
So anyway, they do that. They do Creep. And then there's a moment where Rocket is kind of getting into an argument with Peter, and the song is still playing in the background. And I noticed that he says, I think he calls him a raccoon, right? Mm-hmm. Peter calls him a raccoon, and then Rocket says, "I'm not a raccoon." And then the very next lyric, like right on time, is like, "I'm a creep." And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was intentional, wasn't it? Because if I'm an editor, I'm thinking there's no way you don't do that on purpose.
Right.
So there was little moments like that where I'm watching the movie. I'm like, okay, the lyrics are actually, they're not always exactly telling you the scene, but some of the way the dialogue would lead into the next lyric was really clever at times.
Yeah.
I love the use of the music. I also like the theme of the raccoon. I'm not a raccoon. I'm not a raccoon. He says it 3 times.
And then everybody else calls him something different. Like
Squirrel,
the badger,
gerbil.
the squirrel. Yeah. That's great. And then at the very end, we finally got him looking at a sign that says his type is raccoon.
Right.
Yeah, like it gives the genus, like the actual Latin name, and then it says commonly known as raccoon. Oh. He's got to accept it, man. He's got to accept who he is.
Yeah.
Oh, and he collects all the little baby raccoons on his shoulders.
That was great.
God dang.
Good stuff.
Movie's messed up.
I mean, because Volume 2 was 6 years ago. I mean, I didn't see Suicide Squad. I didn't see James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So this was like the first or the latest like taste of a James Gunn film. And I'll say it has me very excited for what he's going to do in DC. I understand it's not going to be the same tone. You know, he's going to vary it a lot. And he's obviously not doing every single movie, but he is now the Kevin Feige of DC.
We'll see.
And I'm excited to see what he does.
DC more like we'll see.
Uh-oh.
I just saw today in Superman Legacy, they're going to have the dog.
Crypto?
Yeah.
Cosmo.
No, Cosmo was the one in this movie.
Oh, never mind then. Same thing.
Smashed that guy.
Same thing.
The dog in this movie.
Cosmo.
Was that voiced by the girl from New Girl?
No, it was voiced by the girl from Borat 2. Who was nominated for an Oscar for her performance in Borat 2, which I think is one of the weirdest things that's happened in the last few years. But she voiced that character. Okay. And it's funny because I was listening to it and I'm like, this has to be an actress. Like, it has to be somebody. And I just couldn't nail the voice. I couldn't figure it out. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's that girl. Wow, she goes straight from Borat 2, getting nominated for an Academy Award, and now she's the voice of this, like, important character in the film. Also, I like that they did that with the dog. The dog was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. They go to the Collector, played by Benicio del Toro, and she's, you know, the dog is just in the background barking at them and stuff. They walk by her little glass tank. And then she doesn't come up until the holiday special. She just like is walking around. She has a few lines of dialogue. So it's like, okay, she's just a joke of a character. But I really liked in this movie, she mattered. Like, she had powers and she was like important to like saving them in the end.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. She's a good dog.
I mean, so do you want to dive into the end credit scene?
I was gonna say, let's talk about, because this is the the ending of the trilogy, the full circle moments for each character, and I wanted to see if, one, we can recap each full circle moment, but two, which one's your favorite? Of all the characters, what was your favorite full circle moment?
I loved them ending with Florence and the Machine's Dog Days Are Over.
Dog Days Are Over.
Super emotional because then you get Peter going back to Earth to find his grandpa, who they tease throughout the movie. His grandpa's still alive.
He's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He's in the prologue. That is Peter. It's weird to think Guardians of the Galaxy 1 starts not with Star-Lord dancing, which I always thought it did.
Right.
But rewatching it, it starts with him watching his mom die in the hospital. That's how you start that movie off.
Dang.
And then the grandfather being there to like, come on, Peter, it's time to see your mom. You got to talk to her. You got to say goodbye to her. And then his mom saying, you know, Grandpa Joe or whoever is going to take real good care of you. And then she passes away and like, he just like, you know, his grandpa tries to hold him and he just like runs.
Yeah.
And then eventually gets kidnapped by the pirates.
Right.
So that character, that's the last time you see him. And then they bring him all the way back.
9 years ago.
Yeah. Into having him in this movie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. They tease that. What else did they tease?
So that was Chris Pratt's full circle.
Right.
He kind of accepted that this is not his Gamora.
Right.
And he's ready to move on.
Which when I looked up his grandpa,
John Stamos.
Chris Pratt did an interview after Guardians Volume 2, and he said he would like to see Star-Lord go back to Earth. He said that in 2017. Did he have knowledge of Jonathan's?
I don't know.
Who knows? Or did Jonathan do it for him?
It is weird that I totally forgot he had family on Earth.
Right.
That he just hasn't seen.
Right.
And maybe there's like, you know, just a reason for that. It's just too hard for him to go back.
One of the big oh my gosh moments. What was Groot's full circle moment?
So I was gonna bring that up. Is we did not mention Groot at all.
Yeah,
he kind of took a back seat.
I mean, he's got his moment. He conceals all the guns.
There is one moment where
that scene was sick.
Yeah, that was cool. On Counter Earth when they show up and he yells. Yeah. Did you notice the goat people fainted?
No, I didn't see that.
You might have to check me on that, but when he yells and like all the different species are around, a couple people faint, and I swear it was the goat people.
And they freak out.
Yeah.
I do not know!
What did they say he should go? It was some kind of mode. I forget what it was.
Go. That's right. Yeah, they say something, don't they? It's not like kaiju mode.
I think
it was
kaiju.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Kaiju mode. He just turns into this giant monster.
He was like, no, not kaiju mode, no. But yeah, I love when
Groot's overpowered in this movie.
I love it. He's got the wings.
He has wings. Sweet. He's invincible. He's essentially immortal. He can make himself bigger.
Yeah.
He can hold like 10 guns at once and shoot everybody in the room.
That's probably my favorite scene.
Which the biggest thing with Groot, like in the, what was it, Infinity War?
Yeah.
Is he got beat and then he had to regrow and it took time.
Right.
In this one, he gets his head chopped off and then the next scene, he's got a whole body again.
Well, because he maintained his head.
That's all it takes. Just like real life.
Because in the first one, he blew up completely.
He sacrificed himself.
And like all it was a little
twig, and he planted the twig.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think for a while they're like, oh, this isn't Groot. This is Son of Groot.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, dude. I guess cool.
But that scene was super tense when Peter's walking past High Evolutionary and he's looking at him, and then eventually it cuts to them wiping everybody out because Groot's got all the guns. They jump out the window. Groot grows wings and they fly. I loved all of that.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was sweet.
Although pretty messed up what they did to that poor scientist. Yeah, I know he's a bad guy, but at the same time, you're like,
I didn't see it going that way.
Yeah, do heroes really just like? I would have thought like, oh, I'm gonna jump out of this window with him, scare him half to death,
right,
and then we're gonna like, after I've made him pee his pants, I'm gonna like interrogate him to find out what I need to know. Instead, they just like. They save themselves, and they just slam his body into the ground, killing him.
Yeah, and then underwater.
And then rip his darn headpiece off.
I thought they were gonna take him alive and then extract the information out of him.
Not today, Zurg.
So then we get the big oh my gosh moment at the end when Groot says what?
I am Groot, probably.
No, dude, you weren't paying attention?
What did Groot say?
He says, I love you guys.
No way.
Yeah.
I missed that.
At the very end of the movie when they have their...
That was his last line.
When Star-Lord and Mantis are talking about how they're going to kind of go on their own journeys from here on out, and they're going to leave it in Rocket's hands, the Guardians, they do like a group hug, and Groot says, I love you guys.
I missed that. I didn't know that was Groot that said that.
Although apparently James Gunn has confirmed it's not because Groot isn't saying I am Groot. It's because we, the audience, now can understand him.
Wow.
Dang.
Nice, James.
Son of a Gunderson.
Gunning us down. That was nice.
Yeah, there was lots of little fun things with Groot where I'm like, it's a good thing this character like doesn't talk very much and isn't like, I assume he's intelligent, but he doesn't like do much socially because he is so overpowered.
Yeah.
He just says that whatever ability you need him to have at any given moment.
Right. So we've got Star-Lord's full circle. We talked about that. He kind of comes to grips with everything happening.
Right.
And he's going to go back to Earth and just...
Gamora goes back to the Ravengers.
Gamora, yes.
With Rocky Balboa.
Sylvester.
And then we just talked about Groot. Groot talks at the end. That's kind of his full circle then.
Well, then also in the end credit scene, we see Groot in his final form.
He's pretty big. He's like the size of
a Pokemon.
Ogre. He's huge.
He's this massive being.
That's true. And then we got the whole movie's about Rocket.
Right.
So he gets his full circle.
We see what he did to High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was cool. But my favorite was Drax's full circle. Because Drax's whole part, like his whole thing is that Thanos killed his wife and kid, his daughter.
Yeah.
And you like Drax is such a lighthearted character. He's always just making the jokes. But when you think about his story, it's like, dang. And then for James Gunn to give him his full circle with the High Evolutionary, the whole point was he was trying to create a species of perfect beings. So Rocket was what? Batch 78? 89, something like that. So at the very end, we see he has a new batch, but it's all little girls. Which I don't know if he made them from hamsters because they were running around the wheel or what.
Might be true, yeah.
He said they could last on 30 calories a day, and the one little girl had been running for 2 hours straight nonstop.
And then they need 1 hour of sleep a week or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's trying to create the perfect species.
But still not enough.
Which I want to get back to, the High Evolutionary. Remember that.
I remember that.
Right. Trying to create the perfect species. He creates all these little kids. They save all these little kids. And Drax ends up being their father figure.
He's the one that can communicate with them.
Communicates with them.
Which they're trying to communicate with them for so long. And then he finally busts out at the end their language. They say, you could talk to them the whole time. What the heck, man? He says, well, you never asked me.
You never asked me. Of course.
So yeah, other than Rocket's story, I loved that part.
What is it? Is it Mantis or Nebula says something about like, yeah, I always thought I knew who you were. I always thought I had you figured out, but now I saw like who you truly are.
Yeah, you're not Drax the Destroyer. You're Drax the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
There's another moment I'd forgotten about in Guardians Volume 2 where Mantis and him are talking, and she can touch people and feel their feelings. So he was like having a conversation about his daughter. He was reminded of his daughter. He says, "Oh, you remind me of my daughter, and she was a lot like you." And she's like, what did she say? She's like, ugly or something like that, or detestable or something like that, disgusting. And he says, "No, innocent." And anyway, then he's just sitting there clearly thinking about his wife and daughter, and then Mantis kind of like puts her hand on him, and then she immediately feels like overwhelming sadness.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just interesting to think about Drax just like sitting there very chill, but on the inside, he's actually really hurting about what happened to his family.
Yeah.
David, I've got it written down. You wanted to get back to High Evolutionary.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy's creating the perfect species. At the very end, his face gets ripped off.
Sure does.
Let me ask you, is that Red Skull?
No.
But what was Red Skull's whole thing? He was Hitler.
His face was real red and he had no nose.
The superior race.
Dang, Nazis are just like the High Evolutionists.
The Aryan race or whatever.
It did look like Red Skull because of the missing nose.
Right. I didn't know what that was.
I thought it was more Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
It was pretty messed up.
Well, yeah, Rocket was the one that did that to him.
Yeah, that was no joke.
After he killed, what was it, Lila?
Yeah.
Lila
Teefs. Yeah, Lila.
Teefs.
No, that was at the end.
Yeah,
they
the
ripped his face off.
No, but
like how it happened to him.
after he killed Isla, Rocket tackles him and scratches his face up. That's what really happened to him, and he was wearing a mask.
Oh, I thought he always had the mask.
No, he was normal in the flashbacks with Rocket growing up, and then
see, like I thought it connected because you could kind of see like the edge of his face were like pulled, and like, then he had more like wiring behind him. So I thought like Rocket just scratched like the sides of his face mostly, but then the mask flap, he peels it off at the end, and it's like Rocket freaking destroyed him.
Literally ripped. One could say it was a face-off between those characters, which I finally got after seeing that in the movie. Like Chris Pratt said it like 5 times.
Not a trap.
It's not a trap. It's a
not a trap. If
face-off.
you know it's a trap, it's a face-off.
It's a face-off.
It's not a trap. It's a face-off.
Well, it was a face-off.
Groot, kill them all now. I loved it.
Surprise! Got him.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Well, the thing that was kind of interesting was Nebula's summary too, because...
So what was hers? Because I didn't understand.
What's a little bit weird is, and I kind of like that they did this, they obviously have a problem with Nebula not being the original Nebula, right? Because if you want to like kind of have her story be as deep as the other ones, you have to do all this catch up with her.
Right.
And you're not really going to be able to do that fairly, because it's like all these characters are so close and care about each other, but she's just like not there with them.
Hold on. She's not the original Nebula?
No.
No, because
I lost that.
Infinity War, the original Nebula was killed. And then this one was the one from Endgame that was like an alternate timeline that came forward with
Same thing with Gamora, right?
That's what I'm talking. Who am I talking about?
Nebula.
What am I?
The blue
What am I, a moron? I've been trying to say Gamora this whole time. Why'd you guys let me go off on a tangent about something that wasn't even true?
That's why I said, wait, I thought it is the original Nebula. But didn't Nebula get captured by Thanos, and that's how they find out about the alternative timeline?
Yeah, that Nebula died.
Okay.
In Endgame.
Okay. Thanos killed. He basically stripped her down to bare bones to like extract those memories, right?
The original Nebula is the one we have in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I feel like I ruined this so bad for you guys because I kept saying Nebula, and I've completely disintegrated everything I was talking about.
That's why I said, wait, it's not the original Nebula? So it is. Okay. Because then I thought for a second maybe Thanos did kill her when he got, when he captured her.
And then when you said, wait, it's not the original, I thought you were the most dumb person in the world. How did you mess that up? What is this idiot talking about? You guys just let me go on. This is like Ron all over again.
I trust you, Sean, dang it.
So Gamora, yeah. Gamora is green.
She sure
green
is.
Gamora.
She's also an Avatar.
She's not related to those characters. She's too far behind. She's got to catch up. What I kind of liked how they did in the movie is it would have been easy to just have the characters fall in love again. And a part of you, just as an audience, really still wants that to happen.
Right.
But it is also a mature take to be like, maybe they could, but it can't be the same thing.
Right.
And these are two characters who maybe just need to live their own lives for a while.
Sure.
I liked that the whole, Peter, you are like a pond and you've been jumping from one lily pad to the next. And each lily pad is a woman. Maybe it's time for you to learn how to swim. Wow, Drax, that was really deep. Yes. It's like a metaphor. Yes, I understand that.
Lily pads are green. Gamora is green.
Metaphor.
And her skin is flappy because she is a leaf or something like that.
Metaphor. So I kind of thought that was definitely maybe not the fairy tale ending for those characters, the fairy tale ending for Gamora, but I think it was the mature one.
Sure.
Apart from the fact that she's just with the Ravagers, which wasn't, wasn't something she didn't make a beeline for the Ravagers in Endgame, and they didn't touch on her in Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So I guess she's just with the Ravagers now. But they did have a nice little shot at the end of her like in a group hug with them, and it seems like okay, she's at a place where she found people. She's not alone.
Yeah,
that's nice to know. She's not just like being a lone wolf out there on her own. She's got her people.
And her whole thing was like, quit telling me who I am, because Star-Lord just kept telling her like, this is who you were. And her whole thing was like, I'm not that person. So for her to finally be accepted for who she is.
Yeah,
that was kind
it's
of
like
her.
nature versus nurture.
I love the part where Star-Lord's trying to put the charm on that chick. And then at the end, he finally says, put me on the PA. I know those are good people. I can just get to them. And then the second he sits down, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not an idiot. I'm just trying to get control. He's very clever. He's an idiot, but he's not. And that's what I like about him. He's fun.
That whole sequence is great because there's so many times I'm watching movies and you ever have this thing where you're like, man, if I were in that scene, this is what I'd be saying.
Right.
Because something is happening that is so ridiculous. And I feel like it could be solved if one person was saying the quiet part out loud.
Right.
And I love that whole sequence is Star-Lord saying, I am so sorry, guys. Like, we do not try to kill people. This has gotten way out of hand. We're really not like this. Like, him constantly assuring that poor girl who they kidnapped, like, listen, it's going to be okay. You need to understand that she's not really Gamora. She's this other person from, like, reviewing.
I love when Gamora shoots that lady in the leg. Like, I didn't.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't see that.
Hold on.
She's like screaming.
Oh my gosh!
Screaming in pain. It's so good.
Yeah, that was good.
And I love that I love that, like, I keep saying Chris Pratt. I love that Star-Lord is like, he still loves Gamora so much. He's doing everything he can to run interference for her.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was good.
Rocket made me cry a lot.
Yeah, when in his baby, when he got hurt and he said he could barely talk and he's like, hurt.
Yeah.
It's literally his first word. Hurts. Oh my gosh.
Which was voiced by Sean Gunn.
Was it?
There is a part in one of the movies, some character calls him like vermin, you vermin.
Yeah, it's
like,
the first one. Drax calls him that and they get into a big fight about it.
Yeah, he goes off. He's like, and now if you think about it, it's like, yeah, his friends.
Question. Did he have that key in the first two movies?
I wasn't paying attention to it. I wouldn't be surprised if no, because maybe it wasn't an important detail. Maybe it was added later.
Because the way he still had it, I felt like
that was pretty cool.
I'm like, man,
that was a good setup, reminder, payoff.
Dude, you taught me about that.
Where he's got this. It's like he's like playing around with this little thing, and he puts it in his pocket, and then the next thing that happens is Warlock.
That scene
yoinks him.
Dude, that scene was tough when he gets thrown in the cage and he just starts assembling it. He starts pulling pieces out of the grate. He's just putting it together. They're like, we're going to the new world. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
He's gonna kill us in the morning. We gotta get out of here. What?
Yeah.
That was tough, dude.
You know what's interesting about that backstory that I, in hindsight, realized I was totally not prepared for was I could put the pieces together in the first two movies that Rocket was like part of some crazy genetic experiment. They probably tortured him. It was probably miserable. But in my mind, I was always picturing this angry, witty, snarky, cynical Rocket character going through all that.
Right.
That's what I always picture in my head.
Right.
For sure.
Until you see the movie and it's like, no, it's this poor, innocent little baby going through all that stuff until it hardens him to the point where that's who he becomes. And you're like, oh my. And then like there's something about like the phenomenon of in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Yondu tells him, Yondu like reads his mail. There's a moment where Yondu basically just tells him like, you're like me, you push people away because you don't want them to hurt you, and just kind of has his whole like, he dresses them down, right?
Right.
And it's like, there's a moment where Lila gets killed and he like just gives this guttural, just screaming at the top of his lungs in grief over it. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, that character never was going to let that happen again to him.
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
And then he attacks High Evolutionary, grabs the gun, kills those 3 guards.
That was
then
sweet.
Escapes. That was the build up. And you can see like, this is who he is now. And you're right. He's never going to let that happen again.
What's the connection with like, he's obsessed with like the Winter Soldier's arm and like,
it's got to be because he just loves technology and gadgets, and a lot of those technological things remind him of his friends. Like it's like trauma. It's like there's a word for this in psychology. It's called trauma reenactment. Where you keep doing the thing and approaching the thing that hurts you because you're trying to make it stop hurt you. It's like why there's sadists and masochists in the world. Keep hurting themselves and hurting others so they can feel a sense of control over it.
Dude.
Right. Maybe that's
Didn't
what
know
it
that
is
this
then.
was going to be that kind of
This is
podcast,
deep,
huh,
dude.
guys?
Because the Lila had the arms.
The arms, yeah.
And
Teefs had the wheelchair, the little wheels.
Dude,
And the-
Teefs.
And then Floor was just a spider.
Creepy as heck, dude.
Yeah, she was creepy.
Even just her voice.
I like Teefs, though. He had like a British accent.
My name's Teefs. We all got Teefs, but mine are the most pronounced.
I never saw Rocket as like a genius. And in this movie, it's like, I guess, I mean, he's very good with technology and like putting stuff together, but I feel like that it was really highlighted in this movie.
So what made him different? Why was he the key for the High Evolutionary?
I think that question is kind of the inciting incident for him. It's like, I've genetically engineered all these creatures. Why are you the smartest? Like, what is it about you and your brain that is a genius?
You had your own original thoughts. It wasn't something we told you.
You're
told
inventive.
us.
You're a problem solver. So it's like, well, obviously, I just have to dissect your head and get your brain and then figure it out. And it's like, you can't do that.
Right.
It's like The Last of Us.
Right.
The Cure, but we're not going to let you get the cure.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Also,
my favorite part of Last of Us is when there's just a couple left and they're like, guys, this is The Last of Us. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
We're The Last of Us. Well, you know, it's also like,
and
if you
Pedro
want
Pascal looks at the girl and says, "It's Last of Us time."
All right.
Well, you know, the last thing I want to say is it's just such a sad movie. It's like, it's a good movie. It's got so many triumphant, satisfying, fun moments. But when it's sad, it's so sad.
Yeah.
But it's also playing on easy mode to make an audience sad because it's innocent baby animals being abused.
That's true.
I mean, it just doesn't get more messed up than that.
Yeah.
So I even feel bad for Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get the idea he doesn't know any better. Like they blew up his mom.
He's like,
what the heck?
Show him we mean business. He incinerates the guy.
Well, that's what you said. What am I supposed to do?
He's dead now. We can't get any information from him. That was funny.
And then he finds a little pet and he takes care of the pet.
Yeah, it was cute. Looked kind of like a loth cat.
I also
what was the animal from Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
What was his name?
That thing had like wings and no face.
It was it was a big fuzzball.
Big fuzzball with no face.
I can't remember his name. But
Greg or
Gary.
something.
Yeah. Cornelius. So I think in summary, this final film made me finally understand what makes the Guardians of the Galaxy really interesting as characters and heroes is they're all very beat up people who shouldn't be heroes, but they just do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And that's why they're heroic.
Word. Agree.
Which is what we are.
Wow. I mean, we've got more than 99 subscribers now.
Yeah. But why is that?
Because of your editing.
Well, I was going to say, what happened on May the 4th that made that happen?
Oh, well, we can talk about this very briefly because that review took a while. May the 4th, we got a text from a buddy that said, hey, local restaurant bar, May the 4th, Star Wars trivia night. And we said,
Cowabunga.
Oh my gosh.
So we went to a local restaurant. They had a guy set up. It was doing trivia. It was 20 teams at the restaurant.
Wasn't it like 25?
Oh, it was over 20, he said.
Oh, shoot. Not even an accurate number. There was too many.
We were all excited because we got there really early and we were thinking like, oh, almost nobody here is here to play. Easy pickings.
Except they were.
But there's a lot of people who came.
So, lots of questions. We felt like overall there was quite a few too many that were way too easy. We were like, okay, we need some I feel like there were too many easy questions, not enough medium questions, and then a couple of hard questions.
We needed a way of sifting the noobs.
Right. Because it was towards after the first round, there were so many people that had the same amount of points.
Yeah, it was like close. a 6 or 8 way tie for first place. It's like, well, yeah, dude, there's nothing.
Right.
All these were easy.
Who was the creator of all of this Star Wars world? Okay. And then,
his name rhymes with Lord Jukas.
There were some really good questions, but then he would give too much information.
Yeah, for example, at the end of season 1 of The Mandalorian, who do we see wielding the Darksaber for the first time? played by Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
Too much information.
Dude.
One of the questions was, what color is Mace Windu's lightsaber? So some real softball action. But one of the things that needs to be discussed, there was zero policing of whether or not people were using their phones to look up answers. It was strictly honor system.
And we did not use ours.
Never used our phones. Couldn't.
We went into this with the thought of like, we need to validate ourselves.
For sure.
As a podcast.
I said to Sean, if we don't get top 3, do we shut down 99 Nerds?
Yeah.
And he said yes. And that was what was on the table.
Yeah, we were like a Joaquin Phoenix movie. We own the night.
Isn't there a part in that movie where
I've never
he's
watched
walking
the movie.
around, it's dark,
Never
and he
watched the
says,
movie.
I own this night.
Yes. Yes.
It's
To answer
owning
your
time.
question, yes.
You talk about it, David. What else happened?
Yeah, so what did we go? 5 rounds? There was 6 rounds. No, 4 rounds of questions, 2 rounds of bonus questions.
Yeah.
It was questions.
69 answers.
Yeah.
Because some questions had 3 answers to it, like a 3-part question.
Should have been 66.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Just goes to show. In fact, wasn't that one of the questions?
Except the guy that was hosting seemed like he would purposely make it 69 points.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Let's say that they also volunteered. He also volunteered to give a prize to the best team name.
Yeah.
Ours was just 99 Nerds Podcast, of course.
We were strictly promoting. I mean,
which of course I thought was funny when he read our names. He's like, the 99 Nerds Podcast, which is the number of listeners they have. They're like, oh.
Everybody's like, oh.
Got it.
And we were like,
joke's on you.
It's 97.
Extremely accurate. But by the end of it, we had 100. So we impressed 3 people in that restaurant. One of which was one of the people at our table who realized he hadn't subscribed to us yet.
Fools.
Our buddy. It was fun. I was extremely nervous. Like I said, I peed 4 times. In between every round, I had to pee. Because I was so scared.
There was some
You should
sweats.
probably see the doctor about that.
Probably.
Okay.
There were some neck beards that came out.
Dude,
some sweats. Some greasy boys who hadn't showered, ready to go.
Dude.
There was a mist in the air.
Yeah. We got down to the final round and we were tied for first.
We had only missed 1 question up to that point.
But everyone missed it.
It was a sheet of paper with pictures from movies and shows, and you had to write which movie, which show is this from. And the last picture was 2 kids wearing what appeared to be like plastic gauntlets in Jedi robes. And I had 0 clue where it was from. I didn't even, and you guys said, oh, that's the Ahmed Best show.
By the right of the council, by the will of the Force, it's time to face your Jedi Temple Challenge.
Well, the clue they gave was it named the movie or the TV show. And I'm like, this is obviously not a movie. This has to be from a TV show. The only show that would have live action kids in some sort of participatory game is that Jedi Academy Challenge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we wrote down.
Right.
And then the guy said it was he said it was the live show from the like Disney World's Hollywood Studios thing.
Yeah. And nobody got it.
So nobody got that.
No.
It was a picture and you can't Google what is this picture from.
Sure.
To the best of our recollection, this was the picture in question on the answer sheet. Which is indeed from the show Jedi Temple Challenge with Ahmed Best. Which means we were right. And the official answer was wrong. What the frick?
So we were tied for first with this other team.
I think at that point it was a 4-way tie for first.
Yeah.
Going into the final round.
So the last question of the last round, we get, what does Yoda...
It was the 3rd to last question, but yeah, in the last round.
What does Yoda tell Luke? What 3 emotions does Yoda tell Luke to avoid?
Run! Yes, Jedi strength flows from the Force.
That lead to the dark side, yeah.
And we're all like, oh, we don't remember that little scene. We know he tells young Anakin.
It's one line.
Fear leads to hate, leads to suffering.
Anger.
Fear leads to anger, leads to hate,
yes.
suffering. Like, that's what we're all thinking, but obviously that's not it.
Yeah, we're
it's not
like,
Luke. It's Luke. It's
that
Empire
wasn't
Strikes
it.
Back.
Yeah.
So we said fear. We just went with that answer.
Fear, anger, hate.
I'm like replaying the scene in my head over and over and over again. And I'm like, I can't hear what he says because he's running and there's panting.
Yeah.
And it's like this tiny little line.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like it's literally the kind of line you just have to know what the line is.
Right.
That's it. Because it's not a moment where he like looks at the camera and it's like all dramatic and he says it.
Right. And it's such an easy, like, what did Yoda tell Luke on Google?
Right.
To get 3 answers.
Well, oh my gosh.
See, so we wrote fear, anger, hate. It ended up being fear, anger, aggression. I'll never forget myself. But I'll
never forget that line.
Well, yeah, now I'm gonna know it.
Look it up a dozen times.
But I wasn't really heartbroken about because I genuinely didn't know. It's not like I think I remember. Gosh, I can't remember. I'm just like, I don't remember this line at all.
Right.
So for us to just try and we got 2 out of the 3 points because it was fear, anger, aggression instead of hate.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, High Republic team got all 3. They ended up beating us by 1 point.
No. They were the High Republic.
Oh, right. Because of marijuana.
Basically all of the team names at that night were like some portmanteau or very inappropriate innuendo for like a family event.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the music they were playing was like
playing music that's dropping F-bombs and there's kids in the restaurant.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars night. What do you want?
It was way louder than it needed to be.
I will say, so we got that wrong. Yep. We got a total of 67 out of 69.
There's no way we were 2 points down. We were only 1 point down.
We got the aggression one wrong is what I'm saying. So now we ended with 67 out of 69.
Okay.
And we lost.
Because he got 68 out of 69.
Yes! We did it! That's how we took down the dark side. You don't win that easily.
Yeah.
Second place.
I just want to say,
First loser.
The round ended, like everybody had turned their stuff in, and I do remember he was the last one to turn it in. And they took a long time to get that sheet up.
Oh my god.
Question had been asked maybe 10 minutes before.
Dang.
And they sat there, and I don't want to give excuses of, they cheated, but it's all pointing to they weren't honest about it.
There was a few questions I didn't know that we as a group got. One was in Return of the Jedi, who was Gold Leader? It was Lando. I didn't remember that.
This is Gold Leader.
I would have gotten that wrong if it was just me.
I would have been so much happier if the question wasn't who was Gold Leader in Return of the Jedi. If the question was, what is the name of the ship that Gold Leader contacts? Because only I would know that.
What is it?
It's Home 1.
Dang.
Home 1, this is Gold Leader.
This is Gold Leader.
Dude, heck yeah.
But it was the easy one.
See, that's
too many easy questions.
There were so many questions that could have been harder, but they made them too easy.
Remember how we were like, because we got there really early. We got like there an hour early.
We did.
Remember, we spent an hour talking about what are the 7 Jedi combat forms?
Yeah.
Like thinking we have to know that.
Yeah.
Never
I'm
came
asking
up.
you, what was the Rancor's owner in Return of the Jedi?
I can't remember. God, what is his name?
Meanwhile, the question would have been like, what is the beast's name that... Or no, there was a question, wasn't
Yeah, it was like, what's the name of the guy that... What's the species of alien that fell down in the pit with him?
Well, that was actually a question we did on Trivia Pursuit.
Was
but
it?
Yeah.
Either way.
It was.
Gamorrean. Come
Yeah,
on, guys.
Exactly. Gamora. Nebula.
God dang it.
But so
Same thing.
For me, like, I didn't know that one. I didn't know the picture, and I didn't know the Yoda line. So I wasn't tore up because it's like, if I go into this and there's 3 questions I don't know, I'm not going to get first place. We as a group did better than I would have alone. But when that guy went up to get the prize, I looked at him and I said, yeah, he probably knew. I don't think they were Googling. You look at the guy and it's like, he probably has more Star Wars knowledge than I do. Because at the end of the day, I'm a 99 nerd. I'm not some 100 nerd like that weirdo was.
Yeah, we keep it. We try to hold back.
For him to get 1 more point than us means he's a loser and he has no life.
Gosh. I mean, we're all trying to get to heaven here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That guy doesn't have any room for that in his life. Well, one of the guys in our group was older, and he kept saying, "That's on me, guys. That's on me," because like that was I seen Empire Strikes Back 100 times that but I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, I didn't fault him at all. It was a good group effort. We got second place. We ended up walking out with a Darth Vader Funko Pop.
Yeah, buddy.
And I got a Mandalorian shirt, which we'll probably put on mannequin, which there's no camera on.
And then
him.
socks.
And some Grogu socks, which my sons both wore.
What was that? What was one of the, did you give away one of the gifts to one of the kids that third place or whatever?
Well, what it was I grabbed, because
that's right. Yeah. The Funko Pop.
I grabbed it and then somebody was like, oh, you're not going to let the kid have that one? The person who got third place. And I said, if the kid wants this, he can take it. Even though I'm second place, dude, little guy, whatever you want. Because his dad,
it was him. It was like a little kid and his dad.
Yeah, his dad and his friend were the ones who were on the team, but his son was picking the prize. So I said, hey, if you want either of these, you can have it. I mean, just so you know, this is an adult large shirt, so you might want to just let me have that one.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, by the way.
Right. But he ended up picking, I think, the other Funko
The
Pop.
Luke Funko.
Yeah, the Luke Funko.
Which it was the Walmart series.
Meanwhile, David's screaming behind me, get that Vader. I want that Vader. Get that. I want that. Flip the box around. Which set is it from? That one's not really worth anything. Get it. I want the Vader.
Yeah, the Vader is the hardest one to find in that series.
Oh my gosh.
What was cool, though, is we got second outright, but there was a tie for third. And the last question that as a tiebreaker was, how many episodes of Clone Wars are there? Which actually we would have lost.
What did they say?
I asked him and there's 133, he said.
But what were their answers?
The guy guessed 140 and it was closest to.
But he went over. That should be
I mean,
what's the actual number?
He said 133. I asked the guy.
Okay.
I said, what was the answer? He said 133. And the guy said, I guessed 140. So I don't know what the other person guessed, but he was further off.
You know what's funny is...
You're right, though. He went over. That should have been a bust.
Wait. So like that was for third.
Yeah.
We didn't have to answer that.
No.
And yet there I was sitting at the table and I kept shouting to you what I thought the answer was. Yeah. I guess because I wasn't paying attention. I just wanted to answer more trivia questions.
I know. I wanted to be a part of it too. I wish it would have been open-ended, but it was, hey, okay, so first place come up here.
Can I not be second anymore if I get this
right? A representative of first place, a representative for second place, and then we'll do a tiebreaker for third. But then he announced the question to the whole restaurant. So David's there like, is it, I think it's 123. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And he's like, but what is it? What did you tell him? I'm like, I didn't tell him anything. It's like, I think it's 120, 122. I'm like, David, this isn't for us. It doesn't matter.
Meanwhile, the other guys are like,
so that was fun. Fun time.
It was a good
fun night. Yeah.
I told Tyler that I'm going to wear, I lied because I'm not wearing it now. I said, I'm going to wear this Mandalorian shirt every day until we find another trivia night where we can redeem ourselves and get first place.
No, we had a better idea.
Yes.
We should host a trivia night.
Dude, Tyler dropping bombs. He's like, you guys should just host one.
And it can be the most brutal Star Wars trivia challenge you've ever seen in your life.
I said we do the same thing, 5 questions per round, but every question gets harder. So if you answer number 5 correctly, you're going to get 5 points for it, and it is going to be the most obscure fact that Sean can pull out of his brain.
It's going to be like, what's the name of the ship that Luke is on when he gets his robot hand replacement at the end of Empire Strikes Back?
I don't know. I know what it looks like.
I think it's like the Nebulon B or something like that.
Hey.
Wow.
I like it.
I think.
So that was fun. I don't know how we could find more, but if there's ever another Star Wars trivia night, we have to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Within 100-mile radius, I would say.
Fun fact about that night.
Let's go more north where there's less people.
No, let's go to Chicago.
Like in boxing.
Let's go to Comic-Con.
Dude.
Where there's a Star Wars trivia challenge and we will win.
Dude, I agree. I think we can do some damage with the 3 of us.
Dave, I think I'm going to do it.
What?
Go to that Comic-Con.
I think me and Emily are going to go too. I asked Teasy to go.
I'm going to try.
He's in Jamaica right now.
Yeah.
Dude, living the dream. What a legend.
I'm not in Jamaica.
No, you're right.
I have disposable income.
I'll be in Jamaica in 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Taps off to David. Let's give a shout out to Dave. Big month for him. First of all, happy birthday tomorrow.
Oh, thanks.
Happy birthday.
Second of all,
Dave.
getting married at the end of this month.
Legally.
Yeah. We got our marriage license today.
Oh my gosh. Legally.
Taps off to David.
Wild.
Because of that, he's going to be busy for the next few weeks. So me and Sean are going to have to find some content without him.
Mannequin can join in.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, anything else?
Shout out to the 99.
Yeah.
Although I guess it's actually 100 or something by now. So,
but one of those is me. So.
Yeah, we want to give you, if you use code 99nerds at checkout, you will get an exclusive ticket to the trivia night that we are going to host.
Dang.
And then you are allowed to invite anybody you want.
And now we need to create a store or shop with something to buy so they can use that promo code.
How many questions should it be?
99.
100.
It should be 99.
100.
You know what's funny is for a split second right before I asked that question, I had the thought it should be 100 questions. But then I said the question and I thought, well, obviously the right answer is 99. And yet you said 100. But the thing is, they're going to be, they're only going to get harder.
Yeah.
Until like people are like sweating. They're like, I can't believe how hard this trivia is.
People are dropping out at like question 32.
Yeah, because there's always like BuzzFeed or somebody who puts out a trivia challenge on the internet, and it's like 20 of the like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a click. It's literally, and you're like, by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, well, obviously this was just so I could see the 50 ads they had between question 1 and 20.
I've already got a question. I'll have to look it up because I don't know the answer. You know how Luke's hilt has got like the rings?
Yeah.
How many silver rings are on Luke's Return of the Jedi hilt?
No, you know it was
you know what? The hardcore 99 subscribers, you're getting a preview to our trivia night. This will be a question.
You know, it was actually a really hard question for me.
You have it.
That I was surprised by, and it actually got me thinking a lot about, like, it got me looking up memory things about like psychology about memory. Was which hand does Darth Vader have get cut off by Luke in Return of the Jedi? And the weirdest thing is I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because there's something about like the Mandela effect of direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. It's like in your memory, you can remember something, but for some reason, it's really hard for you to remember direction.
Right.
Because I realized I'm like, I can literally see each shot of that scene. And I don't know why I can't remember which hand it is.
And you were totally right, though, because in that scene, he's holding onto the rail with his left, and he's got his lightsaber in his right. But it was like, I know he's reaching, and does he get his hand cut? And that was actually a question that all of us were battling on. It took us a while to answer that one. Because you're right, it's a 50-50 shot, and I can see that scene in my mind. I know the lines, I know the posture, I know the, and it's like, I don't know which hand it was. I think it was the right? I think it was the left. That was brutal.
Help! Yell for help!
What color is Mace Windu's lightsaber? Dang it.
Well, is it a trick question? Is it indigo? Is it violet?
Here's a hint. It's a mixture of red and blue.
Oh my
gosh, that was the night.
It could be mauve. I don't know.
Here's one that ticked me off.
Get the Crayola crayons, quick.
They asked about Baby Yoda took the world by storm. What's his real name?
That should have been, we should have gotten
that's where we should have won.
And everybody else should have been wrong.
Because his real name is Din Grogu. It is no longer just Grogu. Because anybody who watches Mandalorian knows in the last episode, he was adopted. He became Din Grogu. He became his apprentice. And darn it, he goes, I appreciate those of you who wrote down Din Grogu because he is his apprentice now, but you're not going to get extra points for that because the correct answer is Grogu. And we were all just like, what even is this?
This is amateur hour is what it is.
Total amateur hour. Lame.
It was fun though. Shout out to that guy for hosting it.
Shout out to that guy. He was cool.
Shout out to that guy. He was cool. He also talked to us afterwards about our podcast. He was friendly about it.
Yeah, I hope he listens to this because we kind of trashed him a little bit. It was mostly just his music selection and volume was way too high. But we're simple folk. We're not like these hardcore people out there.
Also, I'm sensitive to loud noises.
Sure. Who isn't?
All right, why don't we wrap this up before I get any more?
This was a fun episode.
Before I get any more trouble.
You know what? I'm going to close it out as my man Star-Lord. If you have ever watched our podcast before, I'm going to say to you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment something. What's a good trivia question that we could incorporate into the next Star Wars trivia night that we do? Hold on, let me switch it up here with my boy, Jonathan. And what did you see Guardians yet? What would you give it 1 out of 10? We thank you for subscribing because we know you are all doing that right now. Smashing that subscribe button. Big subscribe time right now. Bing, bing, bing. Here it goes. And we're thankful for you as viewers. Shout out to Sean for editing this. Shout out to David. Birthday tomorrow. Wedding at the end of the month. Big month for him.
Let's get to $9.99.
Definitely like top 99 months for David right now.
Yeah.
So good on him. Cool job. And we love you guys. So peace.